Okay, so I already filmed a message for today, but it's 10:10 on my clock. I just felt this really strong intuition that there's more messages to come through, so we're just gonna keep going. We're gonna keep filming. There's a particular message coming through about burnout, and I don't know if the cards are gonna end up talking about that, so that'll be interesting. I'd like to talk about that at some point. I usually channel with the cards. It's not as common for me to just channel something outright, but we'll see what happens. We do have the Nine of Swords in reverse, which was really great, because the Nine of Swords is a card about, like, to me, it's the card about anxiety, depression, not being able to sleep at night because something is keeping us up, but it's sword energy, right? This card's really cute. This individual is in bed and they have this little creature, a little ghosty above their head, but the point of the card is about rumination, about thinking thoughts that are not helpful, and they just go around and around in our heads and we can't sleep. Maybe it's even the first thing we think about when we wake up in the morning, but it's in reverse. And so this is suggesting that we don't feel this way anymore, or we're very close to being on the other side of it. So if that's something you need to hear, I strongly encourage you to ground into the reassurance. Like, there's a message of reassurance coming through really strong. And it's funny because usually I just want to encourage people, but this feels energetically like it's coming through my body. This is something channeled. Maybe it's a relative of yours or someone who loves you very much, or your guides, your angels, whatever you want to believe in. I don't know. It's totally up to you, but it feels very energetic, really strong. Like, I just filmed another video and I didn't feel like this, and this feels like my heart is pounding and I feel kind of shaky, but in the best way. It's like, it's positive, it's enthusiastic, but it's like transmuting anxiety into excitement. It's like that attitude shift. It's that mindset shift where you can recognize that a lot of the time emotions can be broken down into their physical sensation. And when you just observe in your body, okay, I think I'm anxious, fair enough. The situation might be, making it seem like we would be experiencing anxiety. And then when we ask ourselves, where in my body do I feel this? Oh, excuse me. Oh, yeah. Yawns and burps are always confirmations. So it can feel like a buzziness inside of the body, or the heart racing. And it's kind of like when you are able to notice the sensation in your body. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is a great message. I'm going to fill you in on the rest in a second. But it's like transmutation. It's about being like, okay, as soon as I recognize that this is a sensation, I can neutralize it. I can take some of the meaning away from it. And when I do that, then it shifts from anxiety into whatever you want it to be. And most of the time people would transmute anxiety into excitement. Can you understand how that would be like a similar energy in the body? And then depending on our perspective, our mindset, the story that we tell about what we're feeling, we can shift it. It's not about denying anxiety. It's not about a bypass, but transmutation is taking what you truly feel, which can be the anxiety. Oh my goodness, this reading. Holy moly. Incredible. So yeah, that's the invitation for you. So then we get the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is all about having a lot of options. This might be coming out of a period where you thought you had no options, and then there's an energy shift. There's a breakthrough. There's something that makes you feel all of a sudden like you have so many options. Maybe you feel paralyzed temporarily. You don't know what to do. There's just so many things. And the thing about the Seven of Cups is that it's suggesting that there's an air of mystery around a lot of these options. We don't actually know. Maybe we don't even know what's available to us yet. And we just have to trust and have faith that there are things around the corner that we can't see, right? But there can be fear that comes along with it, of the unknown. We are programmed. It's in our primal nature, our survival consciousness that lives in our nervous system. We are trained to avoid pain, because pain usually means death to our very, very primal unconscious self. It's your brain stem and your nervous system. It's the primal system that is trying so hard to keep you alive. Thank goodness for that. But we can sorry, there's a lot of messages coming in at the same time. We can get stuck when we are afraid of the unknown. Our nervous system and our unconscious mind, or even our conscious mind, is trying so hard to keep us safe that we aren't open to the options. We aren't open to the exciting things. We aren't open to expansion and possibility, because expansion kind of implies a sort of ego death, a death of certain versions of us. And our ego is attached to the nervous system. It's almost like that is the consciousness of the nervous system. It's going to come up with every reason not to step outside the comfort zone, because to the nervous system, that means that we couldn't survive it. But that's not true. You can survive way, 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 way more than your nervous system thinks, and more than your unconscious thinks. And so those blocks, these things that say I can only do this in my life, I can only go so far, I can only earn this much, I can only stay in this place, this career, whatever it may be, it's like you're getting to this point with the Nine of Swords in reverse where you're not buying into that anymore, and you're starting to recognize that there are, just dropped the card, but it's the Seven of Cups. There's a heck of a lot of options available to you, and instead of being afraid of that, there's excitement, and like I can feel it in my body, excitement and hope and being open to possibility, as opposed to shutting it down or running away from it, or just being afraid of the uncertainty. I love this for us. So then we've got the Three of Wands. The beautiful thing about the Three of Wands, I love the little horns on this person's head. The Three of Wands is someone who has experience. You have more experience in being adventurous, in being daring. It's almost like we're under a spell. Like maybe you've forgotten all the amazing things that you've done in your life, or you're not giving yourself any credit or enough credit. That feels very resonant, where it's almost like you've already come really far. There's a difference between the Two of Wands and the Three of Wands energy. The Two of Wands is someone who hasn't left the safety of the home or the kingdom, which is represented in the card, and there's usually one wand that they're holding as they hold a globe. In the other hand, they're looking out across the bay, waiting for their ship to come in, and they have the globe. They're considering going on the adventure. And then the other wand is typically in the traditional deck is bolted to the wall of like the castle. And so it's a choice between staying where they are, where there's safety and security, or venturing out into the world where there's a lot of unknowns. Right, drop the Seven of Cups. We're going to leave it on the ground. But the Three of Wands is someone who has actually left the castle, and they're looking out over the hill. They're waiting for their ship to come in. They're waiting for the right moment, but they've already packed their bag. They've left. They have a certain level of experience and wisdom that is lived. You have gone on adventures. You have done really exciting things, but I think there's almost like some sort of amnesia thing that's happening where we've basically forgotten how capable, how adventurous, how epic and amazing you are. I'm going to invite you, this feels really strong, I'm going to invite you to sit down after this and write down a list of at least 10 things that you have done in your life that were brave. Or maybe you didn't even think they were brave. They were just an automatic. They were intuitive. It was a no-brainer. But that someone else would look at and go, whoa, that's a big deal. I'll give a personal example if you don't mind. So I've had a narrative for a long time in the past that, I'm boring. I'm not very adventurous. I'm boring. I don't do a lot of cool stuff. And then I had to reflect on this recently. Just because you might feel bored right now, or you might be in a phase of life that doesn't feel like it's very exciting. I have a tendency to get bored. So we can discredit or completely forget all of the amazing things that we've done. I've been to Egypt. I've seen the pyramids. I have gone skydiving. I have, at the time, it was the world's largest swing. It's kind of like bungee jumping, but similar sensation, different mechanics. But anyways, I've done that. What else have I done? I've gone scuba diving, which for me was actually really scary. Scuba diving was scary for me. I might do it again. I like snorkeling. Like, I've gone surfing in multiple places. That was exciting for me. The skydiving one is one that I don't give myself a lot of credit for, but that's because even though it felt like a big deal, it also didn't. Like, I'm so glad that I did it, and I might do it again. We each have our things where we're like, oh yeah, but that's not a huge deal. I went to Egypt when I was 15. A lot of people would think that that's pretty wild. Or I went backpacking in Australia and New Zealand when I was 18, fresh out of high school, and I've been traveling ever since. That just feels normal and intuitive to me. There are things that, like, I moved across the country when I was really young. There's just all sorts of things. I can't even remember them. I have to sit down and make this list too. So I want you to do that. I want you to write down at least 10 things that you've done that basically put you on this hill. You're not a newbie. You're not new to adventure. But there's this sense that maybe you're getting to a point where you're like, okay, I'm feeling ready for a new adventure, but I don't know what it is. I don't know where. Oh, confirmation yawn. Excuse me. If I burp and I yawn, it's usually because energy is moving. Yeah, it's a confirmation. This is just waiting for the right ship. But you know there's an adventure on the horizon. It's coming. But it's okay to be strategic and patient if you can be, and wait for the right thing. There will be more opportunities. Yes, sometimes we let certain things go and there can be a sense of regret when we're like, oh, that ship has sailed and we didn't get on it and it would have been really cool, we think. But not necessarily. You don't know for sure. So just know that there's more options coming, and you just have to be open to it and open to the unknown, being okay with the unknown. And there's something here about the level of creativity, because wands are about creativity as well. It's the fire element. Like, we have a major arcana here, which is the Magician. And the Magician has all 4 of the elements that you would find in the tarot out on the table. There's the wand, the pentacle, the sword, and the cup. So the wand is fire energy and creativity. The pentacle is earth energy, your 3D reality, the very practical, tangible things like the body, health, wealth, abundance, education, all that stuff. Swords are the mind, thought, logic, reason. And then the cups is love and emotion. But this individual has all of those out on the table, and they have another wand, which is usually in the traditional deck, they're holding it up, and it acts as a channel between the divine, so the 5D, if you will, the creative, intangible realm of ideas, and then being the channel to bring it down into the 3D, which is your lived reality, the tangible things around you. This archetype of the Magician is someone who knows how to use all of the elements to create alchemy, to completely change whatever it is that they have in their life to create something so epic, so incredible. But it takes resourcefulness. Now, here's a really interesting thing. I used to have a narrative about how resourcefulness meant that, okay, I'm good with what I've got. I'm really resourceful. I don't need anything more than this. But one of my mentors speaks about having one foot in gratitude, which I would couple, for myself at least, resourcefulness, gratitude and resourcefulness, and one foot in desire. And a different mentor would be like desire and delulu, right? The dream, the vision, the possibility. So it's all the things. And so my invitation to you, other than doing the list of what adventurous things have I done I've forgotten about, or I never give myself any credit for, that the average person would be like, whoa, that's really cool. You're really brave. Write those down. And I would also like you to write down, think about and write down what things you have available to you right now as resources. So for example, You might not have a fancy camera to film content, but you have a phone. You may not have a fancy microphone, but the phone has a microphone in it. You may not have fancy recording equipment, but you can just do audios on your phone. Your phone is pretty epic. It's like a computer inside of a smaller device, and it's portable. So use your phone for lots of creative things. It's not all bad. It's about shifting, though, from just consuming stuff into creator mode. And that's what the magician archetype is about. It's creator mode. It rules the creative energy. And it's the archetype of the alchemist. It's the person who can turn lead into gold. This is someone who understands the power of their mindset when it comes to any situation. Understanding that you can be in a really, really difficult situation, and it is not about denying a reality, like a practical reality, logistical reality, what is happening in a situation, but your interpretation of it, what you think about it, your mindset around it, how you interpret it, and then how you manage your emotions around it as well. This is truly where the power lies. This is where all these manifestation teachers, there's tons of them, lots of books I can recommend, tons of people online as well, but they're teaching about how your mind creates your reality. Now you can take it to the step of, consciousness actually impacts the physical reality around you, and that is like quantum physics stuff, and we'll talk about that another time. It's really cool going down the rabbit hole with that, but if you don't believe in that and that's not your thing, that's fine. You can just look at it through a psychological perspective of your thoughts basically dictate how you perceive your reality. Your thoughts dictate what you think about a situation and what your attitude is about a situation, which will then impact your emotional experience of it. And then how you handle your emotions is also psychological. So the power lies within you to create your reality and experience your reality differently depending on what you choose. Now, give yourself a little bit of wiggle room here and a little bit of compassion, because oftentimes we have a reaction first and then we can respond. The reaction is automatic and it's usually survival based. It's your nervous system just being like, I'm triggered and I have an emotional reaction. But then your consciousness, your emotional intelligence, and your ability to catch yourself having that acknowledges, okay, this is how I'm feeling in this moment. And now that I'm aware of the fact that I'm having this emotional experience, I'm going to choose something different. I'm going to choose a different thought. I'm going to choose a different emotion after I've sat with this one and acknowledged it. Anyways, that power, that self-awareness turns us into the conscious creator. That is the magician energy. And I truly believe that there's something about what's going on right now with your situation where you're waking up from a period of feeling really, really crummy, like pretty low. That's great. Glad, I love that for you. And understanding that you can shift. It's almost like a feeling of overwhelm into a perception of, wow, I have so many opportunities. There's so many different avenues. There's so many things that I can do. Whereas before it was like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. You don't need to know what to do. You just need to start and understand that you can shift gears, you can change, and there's going to be many experiences in life where you chose something and you didn't like it, or it blew up in your face, or you chose something and it was so much better than you expected, but it totally changed the course of your life. These are all very possible, but this is shifting out of this feeling of it's too much, I'm overwhelmed, and I'm disengaging, I'm disassociating from the things that are showing up in my life, to shifting your mindset and be like, wow, actually, I'm going to feel this feeling and I'm going to not acknowledge it. And now I'm going to alchemize it because I am the magician, and I'm going to turn that feeling of overwhelm into one of endless possibility, of recognizing that it's like, how do you climb a mountain? One step at a time. How do you build the $1 million business, or let's not limit ourselves, multi-million-dollar business? One step at a time, right? How do I figure out where to go and what to do? One thing at a time. That's all you can do. When we try to multitask, that's where the overwhelm comes from. So it's truly just one thing at a time. And then I will always say, come back to identity, ground back into, I love this archetype of the magician, the alchemist. Like, you are the alchemist. You have the choice. You have the power. You can change it. And I think we don't hear that often enough. And so it makes sense that we can be in this state of disempowerment, but it's come out in reverse. If you don't feel that shift yet, just know that it's coming. Maybe this conversation is going to be the catalyst for you. Maybe this is the trigger that shifts it for you. I really, really hope that you're receiving this energetic transmission, because it feels really amazing. I really want to give that to you. But transmute the overwhelm. Know that it's okay to pick one thing and then change your mind. It's okay to try something and then decide it's not for you. And it's okay to pick something that you have a lot of doubts about, and then it end up being the thing. And you were like, I never thought that this could be possible for me. Who knew? Right? Like, you study one thing and then you wind up in a completely different industry. But your life experience helped you. It always helps you. Nothing is wasted. So just know that if there's too many options and you don't know what to do, just pick one. And if you feel like your ship hasn't come in yet and you don't have the thing yet, that's okay. You don't have to choose right now. There's no need to rush it. But there's something around the corner, and you have more experience with adventure. If you have a narrative inside of you that similar to one that I had, which is, I'm boring. You're not boring. You're so not boring, but you're so used to your own company and your own lived experience and your own story that you don't have the same perspective that people who are maybe watching what you're doing have. They probably think that you're incredibly brave and capable and adventurous and have done so many cool things. So that's a message for, definitely for someone out there. And then the energy of the archetype, the master manifester, the magician, the alchemist. I love that this individual has a hat that looks like it's covered in stars. Like, it really expresses this feeling of the infinite possibility, the infinite capacity and capability that we have to shift our reality by shifting your mindset. This is not about denying your actual situation, and it's not about denying how you feel about your situation. But it is about having that higher perspective and consciousness to go, okay, I am me having this experience, and I'm going to choose how I respond next. That is so empowering. And it's a practice. It takes practice. It's like building a muscle. And if you're new to that, then it's okay. You're going to fumble it. I fumble it. It's just, everybody does. It's practice. But understand that you are the creator. You get to choose how you respond to life. And as you start to choose from a place of empowerment, little bits at a time, your reality is going to start to change. But you have to make that choice. You have to make that choice every single day with everything that you do. It's not about perfection. It's about taking a chance. Life is a laboratory. You are a mad scientist. A mad scientist always seems like they're having a heck of a lot more fun than someone who's, in the endless PhD or whatever it is. There's nothing wrong with pursuing your PhD. But the mad scientist seems like they have a heck of a lot more fun, because the whole point of the experience is experimentation. Trying different combinations. Try this. Oh, okay, that didn't work. Or I have a hypothesis, and then it blows up in your face. Okay, I'm shifting my hypothesis based on that information. And oh my gosh, it's opened this other completely different idea or perspective. And then the magic happens. And you have this incredible experience that you couldn't have predicted. I love that. Be the mad scientist, be the alchemist, be the magician, be a wizard. If you can choose to be a wizard, be a wizard. How much more fun is that? Right? Anyways, I hope this is helpful to you. I love this message. It came through so fast and so strong, and I really hope that it's for you. It probably is if you're watching this. So sending you so much love. I'll see you soon.